In this video we're going to look at the basic mechanics of your hook punch of your lead hand. So the hook is a really difficult punch to throw correctly, and it's a punch that a lot of people kind of get wrong. So the basic execution I'm going to show right now, and then I'm going to take you through the details afterwards. So it looks something like this. From the side. So a couple of things are happening at the same time. The first thing I want to make sure I'm doing is that I want to kind of rotate so I get my hips loaded up, kind of like when I'm throwing the rear hand shot. So I'm in kind of this position. So my hook, the mechanics of my hook are kind of similar to when I'm when I'm pulling my right hand back into position. That's kind of the same movement that I want to do with my hook. So my shoulders are moving this direction. My rear heel is contacting the ground like this. And my front heel is going to come up a bit. I want to stay on this ball of foot. So I'm not trying to pivot. If I do a large pivot and I want to throw a rear hand shot afterwards, it's going to be kind of difficult and slow because I'm going to need to kind of move my feet a lot to be able to throw punches again. So ideally I want to kind of stay on the same spot with the balls of my feet, so it's only my heels that are coming off the ground a bit. So I don't need excessive motion from my feet. What I want to make sure is moving correctly is my knees and my hips, because that's really where a lot of the power comes from. Especially in the hook, it's very, very important that it doesn't turn into an arm punch. A lot of people have a tendency to throw the hook out wide like this. It's going to leave you very open to counter with the opponent's right hand. So you want to keep it as tight as possible. So my arm is basically just opening up like this and turning over like this. So the shoulder is up and my bones here are lined up in the direction of the punch. So if I'm making impact with the punch this direction, I want to make sure that my elbow is on the same line. So I'm kind of, a mental image you can use is to kind of punch with your elbow through your hand, like this. If I'm like this, it's going to kind of turn over like this. If I'm up here, it's going to turn over like that, and you're going to lose a lot of power and potentially hurt your shoulder, your wrist. So you really want to make sure that you get this direction right. Of course, sometimes you can throw the hook more of like a 45-degree angle, or you can even throw it a bit down, but you want to make sure that you always have this kind of elbow-hand relationship where the bones are lined up so you can transfer as much power as possible. Your hand can twist in a couple of different ways. I usually like to throw my hook with my palm facing myself, so my knuckles are kind of lined up like this. But if you bring it out very wide, it's going to cause you to kind of impact with the inside of your hand like this, which can potentially break your thumb and your fingers. So if you come out really wide, you want to kind of turn it over the top like this, so you can connect with your two big knuckles here. Also, some variations of a hook, you're going to be throwing it more kind of down like this. And then it might be a little bit easier to turn it over like this, the thumb down, so you can connect with these two knuckles. So it kind of depends on how you're using the punch, but the basic mechanics are the same. So another thing that's really, really important and often gets forgotten by a lot of people is what your other hand is doing. So when I'm moving into my punch here, this arm needs to be glued to my face here, protecting my jaw. It's very, very easy to get knocked out if you're moving into range to throw a hook. Your opponent throws a hook at the same time, and you kind of clip yourself on the jaw here. For a nice example of this, take a look at the fight with Carlos Condit and Dan Hardy from the UK. The knockout in that fight actually happened when they both threw a hook at the same time. And the hands weren't in position. So I've even seen fights where there's like a double knockout, where they connect with the hook at the same time and both guys go down. which is kind of ridiculous, so you don't want that to happen to you. So from here, twist forward. You can fake a rear hand shot. Doesn't really matter how you get there, but you want to get into position like this so you can throw the shot without opening up too much. And you got power from your legs. Pivot like this and bring the hook in. The way I'm demonstrating now, I'm kind of staying over the front leg like this. You can also throw the hook in more of a circle like this, bringing it all the way through, so you end up kind of with the weight on your back leg. It kind of depends how you're using the punch. If you're throwing a combination and you're kind of stepping out with the hook, you would bring your weight more over the back leg. But if you want to stay in position and stay on the inside punching, you want to kind of snap it more. So again, there's small nuances to how we use the technique, and it's going to determine how we throw the punch, but the basics are always the same. The pivoting action of the hips create the power. You want to stay in contact with the ball of the foot on the ground, so you got a good stable base to punch from. You don't want to straighten up when you're punching, and you want to make sure your chin is down, and your other hand here is glued to your face. For MMA, I don't like to keep my hand on my jaw, because if I get punched here, it's still going to rock me if I'm holding my jaw like this. This is kind of boxing habit. If you have a large glove, you can protect behind. I like to put the palm of my hand on my forehead like this, so when I'm pivoting in like this, if I get hit on my arm, it's not going to hurt me. It's just going to transfer to my forehead here, so it doesn't really matter. It leaves your body a little bit more open, but it's hard to get everything. So that's your basic mechanics of the hook. If you want to see how you can use this together with different punches, check out some of our other videos. So if you like this, please take a couple of seconds, press like on the video, put up a comment if you want, if you got questions, anything to add. And if you know someone who can benefit from this information, please share it. So that way we're all going to get better at martial arts.